We have built Sentinel from the beginning so that it is customizable to the personal needs and preferences of the user. In the visualization area, we can adjust pretty much everything, both in terms of color and shape, as well as size of all markers and displays. As an example, we have here the single short marker, which are these. They are magenta by default. If you would rather have them in orange, you can change this here immediately without having to go to, even if I want to intervene in the programming. The size can also be set here, and also the symbol, depending on which one you prefer. You can also set the opacity, and the whole thing is then adjustable for various things, i.e. for your signal marker, for the position markers, so these are the ones here, but also for your different levels, i.e. here profit target, e.g. 1, 2, and 3. If, for example, we would like to have the third here in a red, what do we take here? Then that is also no problem, and the order is recolored here accordingly. So you can customize almost everything exactly to your needs. We also have the option to display the intraday profit loss. Here in the lower area, the total profit and loss, the maximum profit, and the drawdown. If, for example, I go to the load strategy P&L total, activate it, we have many more setting options again. However, I deactivate the strategy, restart it so that we can also see this, because these settings have to be loaded separately. This is only possible with a restart. Then we see a graph at the bottom of the screen, which shows us what the history was like. If I scroll through it all, I can see all the trades and what the progression would have been. And I can also completely customize this, display here below, here, again, and say, for example, that I would like to have the negative cables in a, orchid, then I have to restart it so that it is then reloaded. And I can also configure the whole thing in the same way, for the max profit and the max drawdown, in order to carry out evaluations here too. 2001, as you can see. The whole thing also works here for all the historical things, and also live. And so I can do this very well here. I still have more setting options for various things, e.g. here with the order lines. I also have the option to configure these order lines differently for the various positions. Here, yes, we provide our own order lines. Here for the stop market order. For the width or for the stops, for the day and for the position itself, I can freely set everything here as I need it in order to be able to see it correctly. This is therefore visually very pleasant. I can also make the visual settings here for this real-time settings. This is exactly the window we work with all the time. I can also completely customize it to my needs. So we can see here is currently configured exactly as we see it. We can set it above all, Windows startup location. Once we have where the mouse is, it opens. Then we can save the startup location. So as long as we don't end the strategy, it saves the position. Small comparison. I now move the window once to the far left, uncheck the box and click OK. Open the window again. Then it appears somewhere near here. So I move it over here a little, close the whole thing. Then it appears again over here again. It might be annoying. So I can then say here in the RTS window, no, I want to remember Windows startup location. And then I move it right here to the edge, say OK. I open it again, and it reappears in exactly the same place. So it's also very practical. I can also set here that the categories, these here, are always collapsed when I start the window, or they should always be expanded or auto. Auto simply means that if I have the menu open here, close 2001, and then open it again, it then remains exactly in the configuration. So very practical for this too. Otherwise, autosave settings. When close window, which means I have a save button at the bottom here. So I can also save this entire strategy configuration. So when I click on save here, a window opens and I can enter a name here and save it. Normally you only save this when I click on save. If I do this here on use an override or create new, then every time I just click OK and close the window, it will be saved every time. This is Also very useful for some applications. Apart from that, everything here is customizable in terms of color. The buttons are customizable. And the background color is, of course, also customizable as well as the texts. So you can adapt this very flexibly to your workflow and your color perception, 2001, so that it makes sense for you. And so there are always smaller possibilities to visually adapt things here. That's all for now, and we'll see you again in another video.